All right, moving on. Staying in college football, we're going to talk. The Heisman Trophy for a little. The four Heisman finalists were recently announced. Bryce Young for Alabama, C.J. Stroud, Ohio State, Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh, and the Michigan defensive end Aiden Hutchinson. Drake, is this Bryce Young's award, or do you have someone else perhaps pulling an upset?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm going to be totally objective to who I think should win this Heisman. All right, I don't have a favorite. You out of your mind if you don't think I'm going for my quarterback, baby. Look, here's the deal. Nobody. Listen, Kenny Pickens. Listen, this dude better worry about being a first round draft pick next year, cause he ain't close to winning the Heisman. Who did you play? Yeah, man, stop it with the Kenny Pickens. I'm gonna keep this all the way real. This award is down to two people, two quarterbacks, Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. This dude, Agent Hutchinson. Let me tell you something. This is a blasphemy that he's in the Heisman and one Will Anderson not here. Will Anderson is smoking his stats, and I mean smoking them in the best conference in football. He's going against the elite. Not to say Big Ten are not elite, because they play elite football there. Not saying that. But Will Anderson should be on this list, man. Bama should have two people on this list. Bryce Young and Will Anderson. I've seen multiple stats that say, oh, Hudson did this and Hudson did. I don't give a rip. He don't have more sacks. He don't got more tackles for loss. They play in different conferences. I think Will Anderson play in the better conference, to each their own. And I don't get it. The only knock I guess I can understand is if you want to say, well, Alabama defense be up and down, so it's kind of hard to give them credit for that. We just explained that to you in the last segment. It's a reason why it's up and down. When you're playing top end, week in and week out, top end talent, the best that America got to offer, and Canada, you're gonna look up and down like that. But I don't remember nobody mentioning Hutchinson when Michigan was struggling with Rutgers. What's up with that? See, we talking about struggles and all, but whatever. All right, he a Heisman finalist. I ain't gonna whatever. Cause you know why I don't give a rip? Cause this baby is wrapped up on a boat for my boy Bryce. Too nice, young. Veins filled with solid ice. Got that from my boy Coach Doe. Anyway, so I think Bryce Young gonna win this. I think C.J. Stroud gonna come in second. Now, listen, I think if C.J. Stroud had not lost, well, he didn't lose, but if Ohio State had not lost that game against Michigan in the way that they lost in a blowout fashion, I think C.J. Stroud will be getting more looks for this award. But when you go out there and get smoked like that, and then you didn't get a reprieve in the in the Big Ten championship game like Bryce Young did in the SEC championship game, you didn't get that extra look or that extra opportunity to remind the voters, hey, it's me. This is what I do. You didn't get that. The one thing I will say, on this list, 3 of the 4 guys played in the championship week. 3 of the 4 guys, right? So they got an extra look last weekend. Honestly, I don't think we really give a damn about Pittsburgh quarterback or the Michigan DN. They did get an extra look, but I don't think we really give it. Are we kidding me right now? I would love to see the ratings. I think you said this. I would love to see the ratings of this game or the ACC championship game
compared to the Big Ten title game. Yes, I would.
The Big Ten, you know what I'm saying? I know it ain't touching the SEC championship game. I know that much. But I say all that to say this. I think this is a 2-horse race. And I think it's a sizable gap between Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. But I do think those are the 2 guys to look at to win this award. But it's just very hard for me to see C.J. Stroud win this award without winning the championship. And you got 2 losses. And I'm going to be honest, the 2 losses that you have, we could kind of look at you in them 2 losses and be like, oh, no, bro. You kind of came up kind of short. It wasn't like a game where he threw for 550 yards and just the defense couldn't stop anybody. it had some lows in both of them games. The loss to Oregon and the blowout loss to Michigan. You could blame most of it on the defense, but the offense took, they was like sputtering too. I think I heard one of the commentators say they gain a lot of yards, but they don't turn into points. That's on the offense. So, with that said, not to keep it too razzle-dazzle, but hey, this young man out of Southern California, number 9, starting quarterback from Alabama, out here, game-winning touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Did you happen to catch that lateral in the championship game that he threw to Brian Robinson?
Oh yeah, yes, that was pretty excellent.
Can you say Heisman moment? That was nice. Yo, that defender was like, what the what was that? Yo,
What am I supposed to do, man?
Yo, how am I supposed to defend that bull crap? But, all jokes aside, I think Bryce Young has done enough to win this award now. I think, like I said, I think he put a bow on it in championship week. I think C.J. Stroud has done enough. It's going to be interesting. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud come back next year. I think the quarterback Pickens and Aiden Hutchinson, they both go to the draft. So when we get around to this time again next year, it'll be interesting to see where both of these quarterbacks stand next year. Because when you win one, they always assume, he won it as a sophomore. He should get it as a junior. You know how we do. We hype it up and get the drama started. I would be interested to see, do they possibly flip roles next year or how that work? Both of these kids, California kids, both of them sophomores, they will be back next year. They'll both be fighting to be, the number 1 pick in the draft next year. They'll both be playing on elite teams in elite conferences, et cetera, right? So I think we can have a repeat of this. But when all said and done, man, I'm going with Bryce Too Nice Young. I'm going with my boy. But once again, I was being objective. I was just saying he was the better quarterback. That's all.
Yes, objectivity. That's what we strive for around here. Even with, I wish I had to deal with the stress of what you had to deal with. Like, you got to come on this show week after week for 3, 4, sometimes most time 5 months, and just calm yourself, be cool, and like, man, I'm a fan of the best team in college football. What a luxury. I definitely don't have to deal with that. Let's start with the guys who will not be winning this award. That would be one Aiden Hutchinson. It's tough for defensive players to win the award. I think it does speak a lot that he was picked to be a finalist. I got to tell you, maybe I'm missing something. I probably am. I didn't watch Alabama a lot this year. I didn't know Willie Anderson. That's what we're talking about. Will Anderson, right? That's the guy who that's the guy who some of these people are thinking got snubbed. I didn't see in the times I did watch Alabama, and maybe it does have to do with their defense, being up and down a little bit. I didn't see Will Anderson just didn't pop for me. For whatever reason. Maybe I'm just not watching closely enough. Aiden Hutchinson, when he played against Ohio State, he popped for me. Had 3 sacks. All of them were meaningful. The numbers, when you look at the stats on face value, Will Anderson got better stats. I don't know I guess I'm just not paying attention when I'm watching Alabama. So I get it. I will say, like, this was an odd year, I think, for the Heisman. It seemed like Bryce Young was kind of the guy for most of the year. Then C.J. Stroud kind of got hot, and then he moved back in front. And then I think the loss to Michigan, I think sometimes your last impression that you make, sometimes what's freshest in the voters' minds makes has a lot to do with things, which probably has something to do with why Hutchinson is here. By the way, if Ohio State beats Michigan, Hutchinson ain't even in this conversation at all. I don't think. I think a lot of him being a finalist is because of how great he was against Ohio State. Hutchinson don't have a chance. I mean, he did have a great season, and I think he's a deserving finalist in a year where there weren't like a whole lot of dudes that kind of like stood out, like to this degree. Even guys like the running back for Michigan State, Kenneth Walker, he was up. He was in. He probably had a shot at some point, but Michigan State, I feel like they kind of fell off a little bit as the season went along, especially getting drubbed 56-7 against Ohio State the way they did, which was C.J. Stroud's, his best performance of the year. Now, Kenny Pickett, yeah, Drink. It's gonna be rough, man, because as you know, being a Denver Bronco fan, as you highlighted earlier, we obviously ain't had a quarterback for many years, and so around this time, maybe a month from now, I'll be hitting the off season and like, well, man, I guess start looking at draft boards. And Cody was nice enough to remind me last night that this crop of quarterbacks ain't that good. And I'm like, well, you are so right, because I remembered that Kenny Pickett is at the top of the boards for quarterbacks, and that tells me all I need to know. I understand, guys. I understand. You want to throw him in the Heisman finalists, give him a golf clap. I got it. 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's nice. Drink. I know this is about this season, but I got to tell you, the dude got a little got a little bit of a Joe Burrow feel in the fact that he's not going to be Joe Burrow. He's not like Joe Burrow. He can play, and he had the best season ever in college football, maybe with the 60-6 and all that. But I just want to bring that up because here are Kenny Pickett's stats from 2018 to 2020: 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions; 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions; 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Yeah, that's a little sketch, Drink. That's a little sketchy. And you know who else it got a feel of? It got a little Daniel Jones feel to it. That's another ACC quarterback. Now, I got to tell you, Kenny Pickett, at least in his final season, put up some Heisman numbers. Daniel Jones ain't never put up numbers like this. But
Daniel Jones was a high first-round pick, though.
He was, and we're seeing how that's working out now, are we? Hello, the New York Giants. So, yeah, I'm not excited about Kenny Pickett when it comes to the draft. I'm not excited when it comes to Kenny Pickett when it comes to the Heisman because he's not winning it. Even against I watched him play against Virginia a few weeks ago. He threw 2 interceptions. I was not impressed. I was more impressed with the receiver that he throws the ball to, Jordan Addison. I mean, that guy looked like something to me. But nah, these guys, those two guys don't have a snowball's chance of hell in winning this award. We know that. C.J. Stroud, C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's going to win the award. I think it makes a big difference having that extra game in your conference championship game. He didn't get that. And I hold him more responsible, I guess, for early on this season. I think early on, week 1 against Minnesota, the Oregon game, early on this season, I didn't think he just didn't look ready for whatever reason. Like, I think I was a little bit critical of the way it was either the way he started games or the second half. Something wasn't right. As he went along, I was very impressed. He looked like an Ohio State quarterback. I think the one thing also that hurts him was typically Ohio State quarterbacks they put up big numbers through the air and on the ground. He didn't really do much on the ground. No rushing touchdowns. I think he has pretty solid mobility, but for whatever reason, he's just pretty straightforward, drop back, and sling it around the yard, which he did to a high level. Even in the Michigan game, he threw for 394 and 2 touchdowns. I thought his receivers, Olave, I thought he was kind of uncharacteristic. Had a few drops here and there that kind of hurt him. And of course, we know what happened in that game against Michigan. They lost the battle of the line of scrimmage on both sides, and I thought that's why I don't hold that against him so much, but it is going to cost him in this individual award. And that leads me to, obviously, Bryce Young's winning the award. Ain't no question about it. And what I was alluding to, and I almost jumped forward too soon in the last segment. Drake, I really think we got to sit here and we got to start talking. This guy needs to remember the same love that Trevor Lawrence got? People need to start.
You're talking about fresh out of high school, right?
Huh? Yeah.
The same love Trevor Lawrence was getting fresh out of high school, right?
Yes, that just never ceased and was so over the top and just never stopped that we were critical of. I thought we were critical of that for a lot of time.
Exactly.
If Trevor Lawrence got all that, I need Bryce Young to start getting some similar type praise because this guy's great. And what do I mean by that? Drink, You just said I was shaking my head because you were like, oh, it's gonna be Bryce and CJ Stroud fighting for the no, it's not. Bryce Young gonna be the top pick in the draft whenever he come on out.
I'm
And
just trying to show a little respect. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, maybe that's you being objective. Drink, I don't have to be well, I don't have the blinders on and I don't have to deal with the Alabama vapors all up in the air. No, Bryce Young is the best quarterback in college. He's the best player in college football. He's winning this award. He's gonna be the top pick in the draft. And I need to see, you can just watch, if you watch the way he finished the game at Auburn with that 90, 97, whatever it was, 95 plus yard drive to end that game. And then the clutch throws in overtime. Even after I get it, he wasn't great at all for the first three plus quarters of that game. But then you look what he was able to do against that Georgia defense, who we were told was the best defense in modern and maybe the Stone Age too. Just the best defense we ever see in our life with Jordan Davis and all these other guys in there. Drake, the guy, and then you just look at things like arm strength. You look at things like decision making. You look at accuracy. You look at mobility, and then you look at the little bit extra, which he's over here improvising, and it looks like he's going to run. He's past the line of scrimmage. It's not an option play, but it looked like one at the end when Robinson over. Oh, look what I got! I need people to start bringing the same energy that they gave Trevor Lawrence and was just showering him with the praise that I ain't ever seen. If we can do that for Trevor Lawrence, we can do that for Bryce Young because he looked like the real deal.
Nah, see, Bryce Young he ain't got long flowing hair. He don't remind you of Sunshine from the Remember the Titans. He don't. Yeah.
Well, maybe he can remind us of Rev, the guy who scored the game-winning touchdown at the end of that movie. Maybe he can be Rev.
Maybe, right? Because I agree with you. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Because if it was gonna happen, it would have happened already. Because the thing about Trevor Lawrence is like you said. Him and Justin Fields came out in the same recruiting class, and you wouldn't even known it by the way that they was hyping him up and the way they wasn't even talking about Justin Fields like that. And they both was 1 and 2 in they recruiting classes. Hell, Justin Fields had to leave Georgia just to be able to play as a starter, where Trevor Lawrence was given the keys to the city. So I don't know. I agree with you though. He done more than enough to get the praise. I just don't think it'll happen.